Welcome back, Year 2. Today we're going to do our topics lessons on famous people with Roald Dahl. Let's start our lesson with looking at some fun facts. Some we already know, some are new to us. So Roald Dahl was born on September the 13th, 1916 in Wales. He was a famous children's author who wrote the classics Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, Matilda, and many more. He wrote many of his books in a shed in his back garden. He always wrote using a pencil. He was a hurricane fighter pilot during World War II. He was also a very good footballer at school. His teachers didn't think he was very good at writing when he was at school. His favourite colour was yellow. He loved chocolate, but not chocolate ice cream or chocolate cake. He was 6'6". That's 200 centimetres. So 2 metre sticks. That's pretty tall. Some of his favourite authors were Rudyard Kipling and Charles Dickens. Roald Dahl died on the 23rd of November 1990. He was 74. In our last lesson, we took a look at the witches. Today, we're going to take a look at the witches themselves in more detail. A note about witches by Roald Dahl. In fairy tales, witches always wear silly black hats and black cloaks, and they ride on broomsticks. But this is not a fairy tale. This is about real witches. The most important thing you should know about real witches is this. Now listen very carefully. Never forget what is coming next. Real witches dress in ordinary clothes and look very much like ordinary women. They live in ordinary houses and they work in ordinary jobs. This is why they are so hard to catch. A real witch hates children with red-hot, sizzling hatred that is more sizzling and red-hot than any hatred you could possibly imagine. A real witch spends all her time plotting to get rid of the children in her particular territory. Her passion is to do away with them, one by one. It is all she thinks about the whole day long, even if she's working as a cashier in a supermarket, or typing letters for businessmen, or driving around in a fancy car. And she could be doing any of these things. Her mind will always be plotting and scheming and churning and burning and whizzing and fizzing with murderous, bloodthirsty thoughts. Now let's recap on how to recognize a witch. Her claws are hidden by gloves. Ew. She has a peculiar nose, so a very strange nose. She has a bald head with wig rash because it's so itchy, so she always wears a wig. A sinister handbag, so an evil-looking handbag, not like one that most ladies would carry. She has squared feet with no toes, so she has to wear ugly-looking shoes. And blue spit. Ew, yuck. So now we've looked at some notes from Roald Dahl himself about how awful and evil the witches are and how to recognise them. Let's look a little bit more in depth about it. How to identify a witch. Witches are women who use magic to make spells and carry out enchantments. Some witches, such as the world-famous Hermione Granger, are friendly and helpful. However, unfortunately, there remains witches that are highly dangerous, especially for children. Therefore, it is important that everyone can identify them. The majority of people continue to think that all witches can be identified easily. They believe that a witch always wears a black pointed hat, has a cat, and carries a broomstick. While this is sometimes true, it is not always the case. Some of the world's most dangerous witches at a glance look and act just like any other ordinary women. Fortunately, there are key signals that can be utilized when identifying a dangerous witch. Firstly, these witches always wear gloves, even on the hottest summer days. This is due to the fact that dangerous witches do not have fingernails. Instead, they have claws, similar to those found on cats. However, it is important to look for further signs, as many respectable women also wear gloves. Further signs to look for include a witch's nose holes. Witches have unusually large nose holes. The rim of each one is pink and curvy, like a seashell. As a result, a witch has the most amazing power of smell, which she uses to hunt children. To a witch, children smell like dog's droppings. So from what we've just read, the witches sound like pretty awful beings. Let's look at a few worksheets now. So 4 of these words are character traits for the witches. Let's see, what do you think? Pause the video now, take a look at the 8 words and choose 4 which you think describe the witch. Then we'll look at it together. Rude. Witches are rude. They would not be polite at all. Now, as ghastly as they are extremely clever, which is why they are so dangerous. And then we have mean. They are awful, so they are very mean. They are cruel. I think we can see that quite clearly from what they do to little children. Okay, take a look at this. Think of 6 traits about a witch. Pause the video and think of some. I thought of blue spit, yucky. Wigs, remember they had itchy heads? Square feet, because they don't have any toes. They're evil. They're just awful, awful, evil witches. They hate children. And they have claws instead of hands. Right, what did you get year 2? Great, some really interesting answers there. Well done. Now what I'd like you to do year 2 is to make a poster about the character traits of the witches. So inside versus out. So what do they look like? Is outside. Inside, what are they like? What's their personality like? We've seen a lot of descriptions about them. Think of as many adjectives as you can to describe the witch. Use lots of fun and different vocabulary. Have a look online if you need to. Once again, great work year 2. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Now, take care and have fun, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.